What's up, Freddie?
What's up, Shady? Ladies and gentlemen, creative people.
Here
welcome
we are again.
Once again to our podcast. Today, not only one, but two guests.
Oh, I'm excited, but I wanted to talk to them for a long time.
It's been a while. We're all very busy. They are especially very busy. I'm very happy to introduce you our friends Burkhard and Monika, German architects here in Shenzhen since a while, working for one of the most prolific foreign companies here in Shenzhen, GMP architekten. I will let you guys, of course, introduce yourself, but first of all, welcome to the shows, Burkhard and Monika. Let's cheers to this gin tonic, gently sponsored by the Gold Cage, our friend Tian, that you will meet later. Finally, we are very welcome. We are very happy to welcome you to our podcast studio.
And we are really happy to be here. It's our second time we have a chance to talk a little bit longer or more about some topics.
And also you had the chance to come to Nantou because we were discussing, it was been already like 2-3 years ago you came for the Biennale, right?
The last Biennale.
Yeah, the one before our...
I'm really surprised, really impressed, let's say it this way, how it's changed and how quickly, and we just had a little look from the balcony here, the atmosphere, this nightlife, this vibe. It's really one of the, I think, really nice spots here in Shenzhen.
Because it's interesting, they put it in a way that is like not purely commercial driven, but somehow they try to integrate the pre-existence of the people and the architecture, and the results so far, it looks
such places you don't have so many in Shenzhen.
No, I cannot think of
any.
it.
It's like a OCT loft.
OCT loft,
but like much more like small
feeling,
and compact.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and also the old buildings, the really old buildings here, give them a special touch.
Right.
You know, and also if I recall it correctly, during the Berlin Arts, they did build some pavilions or did some art space, which is also we don't find in Shui or in other villages. So it makes it, I think, really special place. And if I see the tourist, English word for flanieren.
Flaneur.
Flaneur. What is that? That's a German word?
No, flaneur is French. Flanieren, I guess is German. But it's basically the person that walk around without expectation, with the will of stumbling upon things.
Right.
So it's like you just walk around and
enjoy life.
And enjoy life. Yeah, enjoy life.
Have a walk, look right and left, and maybe you go eat something or you walk.
An unexpected walk.
Yeah. And like you said, what is interesting from that perspective is that if you see from the development, sometimes they left the blank spot, the gap, to create that public space that might not generate a revenue or, rent out, but it gives the quality to the environment, right? That
sure.
Like in Suzhou, when you said, man, okay, they made it nice, it's very working, okay, but it's like very packed. There's not a even little square
space of breath, to breathe,
of a buffer zone or anything. Yeah. In here is quite different. So.
And I think what also like makes this particular area of Nantou special is like, Shenzhen is such like a new city, and this is one of the only like handful of places that have some historical, context.
Pre-existence.
Really historical ones.
Really historical ones. Yeah,
and also the special identity. Everybody says. Chinese culture is something like 5,000 years old or 4,000 or whatever, and then you can't find anything in Shenzhen. Right. Really hard. If you go to Beijing, it's a different story, or Shanghai,
of course,
or whatever. But Shenzhen is just so brand new and reinviting itself permanently. We are living in Chuiwei, Hangguan village. It's just getting big demolished, and you see looking out of the. Taking a shower, looking out of the window, and you see this village houses, no? Crazy. And then what
you
they're
have
building?
maybe some high-rise building.
Yeah, of course. There will be a podium, commercial areas, and some
Yeah.
nothing special.
Yet another mall or commercial center.
That's right. And then they're getting old in 20 years and demolish again.
10 years.
Or in 10 years.
Yeah. And then also the funny thing here is that, I mean, of course, because you're right, either from the south gate or the east gate, you tend to walk in the two main axes, right? But as long as you take one of the little alleys in a step second, you are in how it was before. It's like
different world.
Totally, and that's the coolest part, that it's still there, you know. They didn't take it away. You have the new part, and let's say the main axis and the facades and stuff is very nice and polished, new design and thing, but you can still find that old, rough urban village lifestyle.
Yeah, we were just talking earlier, like the food that you can get on the main street that might charge like 100 RMB a dish. You literally go on the other side of the building, and it's like
where there is the grandma.
Yeah, grandma's cooking
with the
it
pan
for
in the
a fifth of the price, you know.
But that's that's. I actually started noticing recently a little bit of this kind of change in a much slower way in the Subway area, where also Mambo is. You remember we went to that speakeasy kind of restaurant in the alleys, and this thing is happening slowly. And the interesting thing is this is happening from the Chinese owner side. It is not like
someone's trying to make an influence or make a change.
or like the foreigner that has the idea, because we can conceive that thing as something like the speakeasy cool. Okay, I take a rotten place in a forgotten space and I make it nice and things, but it's happening from the locals. And it's very cool.
Not a big plan, not a concept like this other area where you have this what is it called, 1398.
Yeah.
This was
meant
to be also in Chinese style, and then they changed to Viennese style or something like
that. Like the front facade.
really. But it's full every night. It's really a lot of people, and there are also some flaneurs.
But this is something actually more like a food court.
Yeah.
And some living houses.
Some bars,
tenant apartments.
But the whole area, what you also can see, what is missing, because of the border is closed.
Right, there's
Normally
less.
You have a lot of Hong Kongese people come over, and you have a lot of Hong Kongese restaurants. A lot of places are already closed.
Yeah.
Because the transfer interaction is missing. So it's also changing a little bit, and the atmosphere is changing. And
but I think that the challenge at the end, I mean, if you think, like we were saying before, Shenzhen doesn't have a big pre-existence, except for these urban villages that we, as architects, we are all architects, we know this has been a big topic in the past 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years, whatever, here in Shenzhen. But at the end of the days, either you take them down or you find a way to try to regenerate them, to keep that pattern and to preserve the pre-existence. Maybe the locals actually are willing, they are hoping that it's taken down so they get a big millionaire house,
big payday,
R&B millionaire. But at the same time, if all of those are gone, then really there is nothing of the pre-existence. I can read in that pattern of the urban village that I can, the first time I came to China in Shenzhen, even though I've been in somewhere in China before Shenzhen, I never seen this kind of repetitive development structure of the urban village. And sometimes in my mind it's, I've been here because it looks like I was on the opposite side of Shenzhen. It just looked the same tiles, same things, two patterns that are crossing each other in different ways to create these broken axes in the middle. 90% of the cases. Man, even though Shenzhen is a very new city of like 40 years now, but that's now is the pre-existence, and finding a way to deal with it. I think nobody still have found the right solution. We are seeing this new situation in Nantou now, We were talking about Suiway, another opposite extreme. Boom, commercial, diffused hotel. City Loft, of course, is more industrial. It doesn't have that kind of thing.
The atmosphere different, yeah.
I think
Nato is a good example what you can do. And last year we had this exhibition in Shanghai area about the future of the city.
right.
And there was some nice areas of the exhibition from Foster, of course, and OMA and SOM, which are really, and even Foster is doing already on the moon things.
Of course,
yeah, really nice concepts. Jealous. So anyway, but then we talked about the Shanghai area, and this is a pilot project for what is the future of the city and what can you do with the old areas and how to integrate and what is the need of the city. And then you see the first thing, it's about we have a lack of schools, we have a lack of hospitals, we have a lack of culture buildings, and so and so. There was this year, last year was a lot of competitions for culture buildings, I think.
Yeah.
Something like 8 or something like that.
I remember that every time I was reading this competition, they were mentioning the 10 top cultural buildings, but then I think it was more than 10, but they were still mentioning it's part of the 10 top cultural buildings.
Everyone was part of it.
And it was like, okay, because we have all been involved in some of them, and it was like, is it still 10? I mean,
Yes.
all right, okay.
And now schools competition for schools are running like hell. Also hospitals, I think. So they're really trying to fit the lack of the things which are missing. But that on the other side, if you see Shanghai area, this all luxury apartments and this a lot of offices. Okay, but nobody can really buy these apartments or afford these apartments. The guys working in Starbucks can't.
Exactly.
And this, I think, is something which should be further discussed or developed. That the city should be or the future city should have the topic like equality, or liberty, is something like make it more.
And diversity. So
Diversity, but also so everybody has the possibility to. I want to live in Fujian. I can afford an apartment. And I work in Fujian, and not only.
I gotta
not
travel
living-
an hour and
and
a
not
half
living-
from Long
Yeah,
Dong
in order,
to,
yes,
you know?
yes.
and not
that's
living in a second shitty alley or something.
Right. Well,
I think
it's just unbelievable. Like the apartment that I live in Long Dong is worth $1 million if I wanted to buy it. For $1 million
Did you bought it?
No. For $1 million what I could buy in California, I could live in like Beverly Hills. You know,
Yeah, that's right.
that's crazy. Yes.
you know, it's for a little 4-bedroom fucking box in the sky.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's
It's
crazy.
unbelievable. Like,
But I wonder what will happen at a certain point, because Shenzhen is a city that had a very fast development in history, but we have to put the parallel also of the culture of the people, and of course, people that make money, they want to have, let's say, the new area, expensive areas, and that buying a house in Shenzhen, even though it doesn't make sense from an investment point of view, that whatever you're buying already after 1 year will be more valuable, right? But as it happened always in any city in Europe, especially from London to Berlin to the smallest city in Italy, is that at a certain point, the degraded areas of the city that were abandoned, considered the pure one, they become the cool spot.
Yeah,
that
sure.
starts
Yeah,
to take
yeah.
over, where you
That's
start
right.
having the lofts and the kind of hipster, new rich. They're not gonna want to be in the high rise thing. They want to take over that old thing because they can, instead of taking the flat downtown there, they can take a whole 3-4 stories building, renovate it, and it's gonna be very cool in that area that nobody would have bet on.
yeah,
Will that happen?
You know, like I was watching exactly what you're talking about. I was watching a video on YouTube. It was like there was this guy who was like, I think it was like Cleveland or something, and there was like a part of the town that was kind of, you know, nobody wanted to live there anymore, but there was this like abandoned like firehouse where used to be like the fire department.
Okay.
He bought it. He called it Firehouse Pizza. It became like the fucking, you know, became like the hottest space in the neighborhood, you know? And then him and a bunch of other developers, I don't want to say developers, but like entrepreneurs, like started buying these kind of old buildings in this little neighborhood.
Yeah.
And then it became like,
made it happen.
and then it became like a hip, cool place to live, you know? You had like these old buildings that were run down, that were abandoned for years. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh fuck, I like this neighborhood, you know?
Yeah. I think it's, but you can see it in a lot of places all over Europe, for example. Also, you have this old, inside the city, these old industrial areas, which are from the 1900 or so, really, where you can have this elevator for goods or cargo elevators where you could put horses in or something like that.
Right.
You know,
Horses.
yeah, really. And our first office from GMP in Berlin was in some of
Factory.
this old factory, really nice and really in the middle of Berlin, and a super cool place, restaurants around, and people are also living in this kind of apartments, like fitted out like apartments.
Yeah.
Have something like 600 square meter, great
One
space,
room apartment.
one room apartment.
Yeah.
Really, wow. But here in Shenzhen, I think like OCT Love, we have these old industrial buildings. I think they make a really good job, and it's I really like to go there. Nice bars, and I think here in Nantau it's excellent, really. And if they've like there are more villages which have this old style buildings, this really old one, and if they accept not to make millions of millions, with turning down everything, and just keep it as a nice spot. Don't have to be the whole village, but at least a quarter or part of it would be perfect.
Yeah, this is like Freddie and Shady tell already, that you need some creativity to renovate the buildings.
Absolutely.
In a different way, and then you are the hot spot to bring people more to the anchor, the first anchor. Yeah.
But also because, I mean, let's ask this question ourselves. Let's say that money would not be an issue. Let's only look at the fun. We, as architects, would we have more fun in designing our 200 square meter apartment in a glass box on the 50th floor, or taking one of these old 4 stories building and make it for our own? Of course, it's much more fun.
Yeah,
sure.
much more.
Right?
No, of
So
course.
the creative community and creative people that, of course, usually tend to have not the same buying power of the start-upper that is doing robotics, will have much more fun and be much more satisfying having a old building that you can renovate and do your own thing in a situation like this, where you see the people and stuff, rather than being there up in the sky where you don't even know your neighbor because the lift is separated. You know,
That's right.
I mean, I have some friends very wealthy and stuff that when you need the code to get into the apartment, and sometimes I'm in the lift with someone else, and the neighbor goes out from the opposite side of the lift, and you go out of that side. Like, it's really like total detachment, society detachment.
Yes,
It's like, okay,
Unbelievable.
where I live, I used to live in Streetway many years. Then my landlord needed to sell the apartment, but I'm still living around there. And everybody knows me. The other day, it was crazy. I ordered delivered food in my office. I always had my offices in the Basoichi area, the free trade zone.
Right.
And as you know, back in the days, even the taxis could not get in. Then the taxis couldn't get in. There was no metro. And there were a lot of moto taxi drivers, like hundreds of them, that little by little disappeared. Now all these taxi drivers, all these moto taxi drivers, are working somewhere else or they are delivering food. Man, 2 days ago that I was in the office, I ordered some food from a new thing that I never ordered before.
Like a new app or a new shop or?
It was a new shop.
Okay.
Like we were trying some, I don't know if it was burger or some Japanese, whatever, from like Shisha. So like nearby, but an area where I never order anything. And this guy comes and he says, hello, speaks English. And I don't see who it is. He's a moto taxi driver. And I recognize him. He recognizes me.
No.
From at least 5 years ago that he was driving me. And it's crazy, this kind of thing. I was like, man, okay, look, doing nice. And funny thing, back in the days when the taxis could not enter the free trade zone and someone needed to come to my office, foreigner and stuff, or people from Hong Kong, I said, don't worry, you tell the taxi to drop you here, show them my photo to any moto taxi driver, any. They would take them to my office. I swear, literally. I mean, below my house.
A special appearance.
I mean, after 5 years that I live there, I'm the only one with a mustache. Then every day I take a motor taxi. I took them all. I mean, I test them all. Of course. Take them to my office. Awesome. I mean, it's also the funny part of living in a city where you can get lost in translation very easily, because even though I'm embarrassed to say, but after 10 years here, my Chinese is all right, but like a survival mode. So I cannot get deep connected with everyone. But
it's what makes life comfortable? When are you feeling, let's say, warm? Something like you go downstairs. The guy at the entrance door says, good morning. You go to the kiosk, you buy your cigarettes and your vodka.
Yeah, and you don't even have to say which cigarettes.
They know,
right?
Yes.
They know it.
They know. No, that's super cool, man.
This is when you feel really comfortable in your environment. Yeah. You go to Mambo or to Bacceria or whatever, or Cake Room or this little tiger lady now. Yeah. She's called Tiger, called correctly. But it's really, everybody knows you, it's just like, and then you go to the bar and all the people sitting there know you, it feels like home somehow.
Definitely.
If you go to the office, everybody knows you. It's also good.
I hope they know the office.
No, but at least, I think that in those situations you get this sense of scale that is much more easy to have even in a big city back in Europe, because the largest city back in Europe is maybe 1/10 of Shenzhen.
Yeah.
So the sense of scale is definitely lost. I guess that even, Berlin or Milan, if you live in that area, you don't know only the people around your street. Somehow, for the supermarket, you don't have to go 5 meters like here. You need to go maybe 500. Yeah. Like your radius of reconnaissance is a bit far extended in here. But here, we are talking a city that is almost now, 18 million inhabitants?
Yeah.
And then unofficially, who knows what it is?
Yes.
It's a quarter of Germany.
Exactly. I mean, Berlin...
No way.
Berlin, how many?
A quarter?
80 million?
80 something million?
So let's say let's say 20. Let's say 20 million.
Yes.
And there's definitely 20 million here.
Yeah.
So how many are in Germany? Is like 80 million?
83.
In Italy, we are 59 million, man. 1/3 of Italy is in this city.
So like in 3 years, so like in Shenzhen's gonna be like half the population of Italy?
Yeah.
Right, per river delta area has...
If we count it as GBA, bye-bye.
Yeah.
It's like...
Yes.
I
mean, imagine like if you take Hong Kong, Shenzhen, Guangzhou.
I tell you, back in 2013, when I was making like a study for regenerating the landscape of the Pearl River Delta, I had 62 million inhabitants, counting as, at the time was not called GBA, Greater Bay Area, it was like the Pearl River Delta cities, Shenzhen, Dongguan, Guangzhou, Zhuhai, Macau, Hong Kong, in 2013 was 65 millions.
Yeah, right.
Officially.
From data, from
Yes.
data.
So,
So
Well, I mean-
it means more, but now it's for sure officially much more.
Like I used to live in a city, I would say city, a town in California. It was like 2,500 people.
Yeah, me too. I was born in a village, let's say
You know,
a Chinese bus stop.
It's like my tower now.
You know,
Exactly.
the little garden complex I live in is fucking more populated than the town I live in.
Yeah.
You know?
Our complex has more people than
yes.
2,000.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
right.
How many floors have the compound you live in?
34, but the
It's
podium
like one
is-
tower, or it's like a set of towers?
set of towers, 3 towers, and we have a podium where spa is inside. So
Right.
Famous. It's the most famous spa in
famous.
Shenzhen.
super
Okay.
famous.
Is
Oh,
it
really?
the Palm
Shangri-La?
Spring? Is the Palm Spring?
No,
the-
Shangri-La.
Oh, Shangri-La.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They have a little like kiosk at the border transit, I think.
The what?
At the border crossing. You know, like in Lohu, you walk through the border, there's this little kiosk, a little
Oh, okay.
could be hole where they
I
say,
get it,
"Oh, come
yes.
to this spa, come to this spa, come to
There's
this
something
hotel."
like a golden staircase. It's not golden, but it's.
Have you been there?
It looks like
Yeah, no. In winter time, it's nice because it's warm, and it's about.
You get the double happy ending, double hands massage.
I think even quarter, triple, whatever. I think this is not a problem there, but I think it's in winter time I really enjoy it because it's warm. The showers are really strong.
The showers?
hot, yeah, and it's only.
Oh, you go there for the shower. You go there for the showers.
No, there's a difference here in South China. You don't have heating system in your apartment.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And
I mean, it's-
especially before I came here, you had no heating. Buy you one, and then you spend the winter in the spa, right?
In the spa.
Because the crazy thing is that when you have no heat and everything is made of concrete, at a certain point for this week or 10 days, there is a moment during the year
Shenzhen
that is
winter.
colder in your house than outside because it fucking absorbs everything. And it's like, man, I want to go out even if it's cold. You just go fucking crazy.
And then it's getting warm again, and then we have so much water inside the house because
yeah.
it's condensating. The
Yeah.
warm air. Can swim to the elevator.
Yeah, that's terrible. Yeah, but then like you were saying, when you start thinking about numbers, I mean, when I was living in Shiwei, I was in this compound, like it was 5 towers, each tower 34, 35 floors, whatever. It's like, yeah, the first 5 floors are
6
something
apartments
else,
to
right?
each floor.
No, more. I had at least, because I was at the time 2317, so it means that probably we were 19 apartments per floor.
Fuck.
19? Oh, we have 8. So
We have 6.
19. I don't know how they counted, but it's like it was a double T touching each other with a connection. So, of course, there are some apartments probably that are very small. I had a 2 bedrooms apartment on the corner. Is the one behind the Bracceria, where there is the Palm Spring, the first, where there is the Golden Building at the
Yeah,
beginning of
yeah.
Suiwei.
Yeah.
So
Ah,
those.
yeah.
It's like a boomerang, and then there is the single tower that is made of 2T. I was 23, if I remember well, 2317, and my neighbor had one more number. So anyway, let's say count 10 flat per floor. Let's say 2 people living in every flat, which means 20 people per floor. Multiply by 35 is 700 people times 5
But
towers.
two is a low number per.
Yeah, exactly. I'm staying on
It's a
the
low
low. I'm
number,
staying on the low side, just thinking
Yeah.
basic. 5 towers, 3,500 people, and I'm staying on the low side. That's
Yeah.
already double in your where you were born.
Yeah,
It's like
it's crazy.
no. I wonder how if they would travel and go to Europe and stuff, how they perceive that. It must be the opposite shock, you know, of like
Culture shock, yeah.
yeah.
So what brought you here to Shenzhen? Like, what was the?
Somebody called me and says, Burkhard, there's a project which...
There's a beautiful spa called the Shangri-La.
Yeah, you get triple massage, and there's no ending if you don't want.
No ending.
No ending.
And what's the
And then, and the voice on the other side of the line said it would fit perfectly to your experience and to your likes and whatever. And
It's just outside of Kong.
and then he said it's in Shenzhen. I said, where is Shenzhen?
So what year was this? What year did you get this phone call?
2013.
2013.
Yeah. So then I checked, I Googled it, and I saw, there are palms. Hong Kong is around the corner. It could be worse.
So you got the call. So you were working, at this point you were working in Berlin?
No, I was in Brazil. We just finished the stadiums for the World Cup. And before I was in South Africa, also for
The stadiums?
for the FIFA stadiums. So, and then I thought, okay, Brazil is unfortunately done. So no further projects
No
on
chances.
the table. Yeah. Brazil is nice, eh?
And the building was finished, and you made also some site visits and get sure that the quality is good, right?
Yeah, right. And then I said, okay, I go to China, check Shenzhen. And
Did you got a chance to like see the city and like come visit before you
Yeah.
committed to living here?
Yeah, I was end of 2013. I was here. I had my first meetings, and then thought about it, and I said, "Oh, could be an adventure." And Shenzhen is not what you expect from China, actually.
No, it's like a bubble. It's like a
It's China for beginners. You know, you have this. you have this Chinese corner with this Chinese letter, and this looks exotic. The city is green. The public transport is fantastic.
Is the easiest clash you can have with
I think it's
because
good.
already if you end up in Guangzhou, they speak Cantonese, then you realize that whatever you try to learn is not useful at all anywhere else you go, except Hong Kong maybe. And
And also, I think like too, like living in Shenzhen, I think most of us can find the comforts of home that we want here. Like whether or not you want some cheese or some specific type of food or a specific type of beer or product or whatever, right? We can kind of remake the life that we were living, not 100%, but back at wherever home was, because it's a very international.
There's even a German bakery.
Right. See?
So
That's right.
that's good.
But I think maybe in cities like Shanghai, Beijing is much easier.
Much easier, yeah.
They have more shops and more experts. I
But
think,
Taobao
more experts.
Taobao can send you everything.
And Taobao and yeah.
But I
you can
guess
order from there
when you guys arrived in Shenzhen, we've been talking about this many times. It sounds like we are talking as if we are 80 years old, but you remember those times where we didn't have WeChat, when it was not Taobao? Man,
Right.
it's crazy. It was like, what, less than 10 years ago, man?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It was totally different. Now it's much more easy.
Yeah.
Those who came like us with no WeChat, no fucking translation, and no order, looking at the pictures, it's quite different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Now
also,
it's easy.
And
I mean, when I have to used to like carry like a address card in my pocket.
Oh my God, yes.
You know, 'cause it
business
has the
card
location.
always from the hotel. It's like, wow.
and people told me you have to give it with two hands, the business card. Yeah. And now,
Right.
even if you are now you ask, do you have WeChat, which is a stupid question anyway.
Of course. It's
Can I have your WeChat, please? And yeah. Now, but the first night here, I was staying in the Coco Park area. And then I went out for a drink in the evening, and then I went to the bar street, which was in older times not so loud.
it was just open.
Had like La
Park
Casa,
Yeah,
right?
La Casa.
The kitchen was there.
Yeah. Oh, and then there was one bar, and they had dance classes, Latino dances. And I just arrived from Brazil and said, hey, okay.
I can do
perfect.
this.
Not so bad.
You guys were together at this time?
Yes, right? Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, like you came together.
No, we don't come together. I arrived here 2 years later, after 2.5 or something. After we had for 2 years a long distance relationship.
You were where?
I was in Berlin.
I'm in Berlin.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
You met at the Berlin office?
Yeah, when in the time between Brazil and China, Burkhard was in the Berlin office. So
Okay.
Now we met.
we met each other years ago
on a
at my first annual party of the office when I began
Which
to work
stadium
there.
you were working on at that time? Maybe it's easier.
You've been in South Africa,
Yeah,
right?
I was South Africa. Yeah.
So you were kind of like the guy in the company that be like, okay, like Brazil is kind of heating up. We send you to Brazil. Oh, there's some action in Africa. We put you in Africa.
Yeah. I was.
Are there others like you who also like get moved around?
I know there's nobody actually which is have been relocated so often, in many different countries. I was lucky because I did the competition for stadiums in South Africa. We won, and then I was also going to South Africa, running the project also be on site. So I was till finished
On long term there for the
working on this thing for 4 years, which is once in a lifetime job actually. It's not so often. And then in Brazil was more, we started there, the design already started before I arrived. And I didn't learn so good Portuguese, so it was something like here in China now, you
right
you feel the atmosphere, but Brazil is a little bit different. It's more, let's say, dancing.
It's easier.
Yes.
Yes.
What's easier in Brazil?
Nah, that was life was easy, super easy.
What city were you in?
You were in Rio?
Yeah, we were based in Rio, and I had a project in Manaus, which is
I know.
and it's our PO's project. Other companies have been in Sao Paulo, so I was quite traveling a lot, and also the city. Brazil is so big; it's also like China, super different in the south and the north, east and
Sao
west.
Paulo and Rio is totally opposite. It's like
So a weekend in Rio de Janeiro, going to Ipanema Beach, having your caipirinha. Fly out Sunday night to Manaus, sitting in the Amazonas or whatever. So it was also an interesting lifestyle. But if you compare which is more comfortable, like from a security point of view.
Oh man, of course.
It's and these countries have a different street life, let's say it this way.
Yeah,
I never felt so safe anywhere else in the world like in China,
super
man.
safe,
Man, not even in Italy I feel so
cameras,
safe.
If you have a gin tonic, everywhere are cameras, so it's
Yeah, in Berlin I have to watch. You can walk there at night alone, but you have to watch which way you choose.
Yeah, and you kind of have to I mean, even in the States too, you kind of have to see if other people are watching you. To make sure that it's like like a chill vibe and shit like that. Like you can walk, like when I used to go to San Francisco, you just make sure that no one, you're walking down to like the next club, you want to make sure nobody's going to be fucking with you along the way. Here it's just like, I'm on my phone.
Yes, like everybody.
Of course there are the extremes. I mean, not always happens, but we know there are the extremes where in the US, if you do the wrong move or the wrong answer to a cop, it might end up bad. Here, the cop, I never seen a cop with a gun.
No.
Because they don't need it. They know where the fuck you are and who you are. You wanna run? Okay, don't worry. They guys sit down. They call. Okay, it's like the two extreme opposites. But here, the fact that, there is two sides of the medal. Of course, it's very controlled, which has its consequences, but the fact that everybody knows that you're under control, they would not dare to get in trouble, because even if they find a wallet on the floor, then they will get in trouble if they touch it or they don't give it back. So
I lost my passport here in a cab. Really something like the brand new visa in it, and I was like, oh my god, my passport is gone. And credit card maybe also, I can't remember. Anyway, and then we just, paid with WeChat, call the taxi driver. He said, no problem, I'm sleeping in the moment where I can come and you just pay my tour to your place. Done.
You got your passport back.
Yeah.
Hey, fuck.
Really?
When he begins his next shift. So
in Brazil, probably the day after, someone has your passport with a new photo and they are smuggling things across the border. I mean,
you have a visa for China.
Oh, good, I can go sell things in China. Boom, boom. But suddenly Burkhard is a massive black guy.
And for you, this was like your first working abroad experience coming to China?
No. I had actually also experience in designing stadiums, but in Europe. So
with GMP or
with GMP. I was 2008 till 10 with some breaks because I was traveling between Berlin and Warsaw for the European soccer championship, and we designed.
Which I remind everyone has just been won by Italy. Sorry.
Yes, that's right.
Is it?
Yes. And
Sorry, I had to do it.
Congratulations, was a good game.
Congratulations, yeah.
He cried, dude. He cried like a little girl.
You should know my dad is a big fan of Italy. So I think he he will be Italian. So, and there was a stadium, and I was also did the same job as Burkhard did in Brazil and South Africa.
So you were in Brazil too?
No. The similar job, which.
Well, which country? Which places?
No, only Warsaw. Before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because she's
Poland.
so young, you know.
In Poland, and I was born in Poland, so I can speak the language. So it was actually very nice, and also nice for me to see how the country was changed during my growing up in Germany, and how much I am still Polish and how much I am German for now. And I can say I am more German. I getting more German than Polish, but I can understand the mentality of
Of course.
So, how old were you? Okay, I don't want to ask you how old are you. How long were you working for the company when you met?
Actually, it was. You are working 5 years longer or 7 years longer than me for the company?
I'm working there since 2002, so nearly 20 years.
So that means the.
It feels like yesterday, 2002.
What a beautiful year.
Okay, he's working maybe a little bit more than 5 years or something. And I was a freshman after studies and start to work.
So you went from university directly to working for GMP?
Yeah, I had a small job in another company, and then I applied for a job by GMP.
And she started with a big airport
with the airport here, which is finally finished.
Which airport?
in Berlin,
Berlin.
The main one.
Okay.
The new one.
And then
which is already too small.
You were like back from like one of your exotic working adventures. And you're like, this beautiful fresh meat in the office. I got to get to know her.
Yeah, sure. And we had some drinks, and then we said, nice. And then next year, because I was working.
We met every year at the annual leaving
At the
party.
annual,
So
okay.
it was and it was
Was
nice, and I was
something like a
actually-
tradition.
I was looking forward to and,
So it took some time. So when you first met him, till you actually like became
7 years.
7 years.
Okay.
It took 7 years before you became a couple.
I think so, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Really.
Patient.
Patient.
Patience and rhythm. And actually, like then, when you started here in Shenzhen, was because I know that GMP started and did a lot of things here in Shenzhen, but back in those days, was it like already flawless, or was it like starting? Because you did already the exhibition center even before you were working for them, probably, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
What
I was-
was like in '95 or in the beginning of
Yeah.
the '90s? That was it.
Yeah.
It was nearly one of the first projects in China for our
The
company.
Shenzhen one.
Yeah.
Exhibition center, yeah.
center.
So that I guess started to trigger little by little more, and then with the university, I guess you did the stadiums and stuff.
Yeah, after the exhibition center, there was first other project was in Beijing, the German school, then the National Museum.
Oh, you mean the exhibition center was the first in China?
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay.
If I
Oh,
recall,
no, the school, I think.
the school started, and then
And
really,
then the exhibition
and then
center.
with the National Museum in Beijing, we said, okay, now we need an office here. And then we sent people over
To Beijing.
To
Or to
Beijing, and
Shenzhen.
then-
To Beijing.
to Beijing, and from this point on, it was really okay.
Started
It's
expanding.
another core business for GMP, and we have how many projects here? 200 something.
Wow.
Built. Yeah.
Built,
200 finished projects.
something like that, or more than
That's
150, and a lot of on the table. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's
But I
GMP
guess they
is
also
20
then-
years
Yeah.
in official in
in
China.
China and 10 years in Shenzhen. Shenzhen is young for,
No, of
for
course.
the age of our company.
Yeah, but I can imagine, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but I can imagine, even though GMP was like big to a certain point for European standards, when you start hitting that Asian and Chinese market, of course, it's like whatever, how skillful or how many people you have, you need to be on site, because there's no way you do business in
sure.
China without having a team here. At least one or two people, but someone needs to be here drinking baijiu, shaking hands.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, I mean, not even that too. I mean, but like, just take this small office for example. Freddie did like detailed like plans about this place. We wanted an outlet like right there,
Yeah.
and then fucking, we don't come there for 2 days. When they're doing the electrical, and boom, there's no outlet right there. Even though it's like in the plans that we gave the guy, you know,
you have
it's
to
just not
watch
there.
out, yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Construction site. You have to buddy to, because the guy who's doing electrics, he just don't cares. And the guy who's doing the flooring, he just don't cares. And they don't think it should be come together.
Right.
They don't see how the things are,
What's the concept and the idea behind
Yeah.
was
or that there is a connection between that thing, or why is it there?
Or even just the painting. They'll just like come like, I need this wall painted black, but I didn't mean the floor to be fucking black. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
of
then
course.
here in China, everything is fast. So
Yeah.
even if you're structured, if you're not used to work with China, is anyway you are suddenly having an issue on the timing.
Yeah. No, it's one thing is the speed here in China, and of course for the client is always the money, the budget, or the time and budget. But on the other side, it's also the quality, and we try to really want to have the building in a high quality hand over to the client, and this is not normal for Chinese market. Architect is normally not paid for this job, so we have some special service like that. We have quality control on site, so it's not super site vision. It's not somebody is checking
Yeah, it's
that
good.
the guys
that
doing
they,
what they're doing. If they have enough
So you-
concrete, but we
It's like a full follow up of the.
we be going. Okay, this is we're doing mock-ups. We're doing templates. We're checking the flooring. Is this what the client really ordered? quality-wise, the jointing is lining up, and something like that.
And there's also difference how you plan, for example, a facade, because the tolerances are here bigger than in Germany. So you try to make it as simple as possible, that it's not visible.
To
funny
avoid
lines and
less taboo than here.
Yeah.
But it should work, and it will be easy to construct and that it looks good, but not too complicated construction.
But also because, from the client side or the government side, they are not used or expected to have the architect follow that, because it's not part of
Normal scope, yeah.
Usually in Italy would work that the client comes to the architect, and then you get the project, and you two build a team and you follow up. So you're responsible for what you're doing, and you are expected to be responsible. Here the client comes to you, gets the project, goes back, maybe we'll get back to you, otherwise we will pay you, but then find his own constructors, and they might not even need you, because in their mindset, you did the design, now I'm going to take care of it, and that's when the shit happens.
No, it's really...
So bridging that gap is...
It's really outside Europe, from my my experience. It's an architect is the guy who is doing making a nice picture, and maybe choosing the tiles or the colors.
What color paint?
Normally, like in South Africa, the structure engineer has much more power than an architect. Even in Brazil, also, they really redesigning the building. This is the split from the beginning of the industrialization, where the architect and the structure engineer have this gap. Outside Europe, you can still see it.
So, like with your experience, this is a question for both of you. Like, on all the projects that you worked on, what do you feel the most kind of like close to or proud of? Or like, like I had a part in this stadium or this building, or it could be even just a small exhibition space, or
the builded ones.
The which one?
This was when the construction is finished and you have a final build.
But which one though? Like which?
For me, it was of course the National Stadium of Warsaw. Because my roots are from there, and my grandpa was also architect, but he was already dead when we finished the building, and then I began to start with the project. So, but I think he would be proud of me, and it's nice. And actually, I was young when we been there on the construction site, and when I went with friends and colleagues to a bar, and somebody asking us, what are you doing, and we are planning the stadium, and they, what? Never. You were too young. So so it was fun, and and it is good job.
Nice.
Good
you're happy with the design?
Yeah, of course.
And for you?
I'm happy with the design also. I visit the stadium. It's quite impressive.
That's also your favorite project?
No. But I think the stadium in Warsaw is it's one of the stadiums which have a 24/7 concept, which is really running. They're not just having one a week a soccer game. They're doing everything. They're doing concerts. They're doing even motor, bicycle, whatever.
It's like
shows.
a multi-use place.
Multi-use, really.
And office spaces and conference.
Office space, and we've been there on the weekend, full of people just going there having a currywurst on. It's really a place in the city which people has been accepted as their stadium and a place to hang out or flanier.
Right. It's also like a quite strategic location in terms of the flows of the city. It's not like
it's not just on
the edge or
and actually it was good. It is on an old stadium which was built in the 50s after the war. And this is behind the river, the Wisła, and this was actually, the city was growing on this inner city, on the CBD side, and this part of the city was falling apart, and the building were not renovated, and the stadium brings up to get the district again a little bit
Some life.
life and
More
and
value,
renovated
more money.
But it's still cool. It's still cool
Yeah,
district.
no.
Yeah, and your
What was your favorite project?
My favorite project is actually from Oskar Niemeyer, which I didn't build, but if you...
Whom is also my favorite.
I love him. It's,
No, but I mean, we're talking about what.
The one you worked
This was
on.
not a question.
Yeah, what you worked on.
Yeah. Good question. I agree with Monika. One where you start with a sketch or with the first step of the design, and then you really finish the building, like I did in Durban. The stadium in Durban is quite once in a lifetime. Also, the people, we had a super good client. The professional team was amazing. So you just not work with the people, you make a lot of friends doing work.
Right,
And this is you spend 4 years with this bunch of people. You go diving, you have your South African braai, and go on game drive, and
Well, that's an amazing story.
and South Africa is really, you love Africa, and it grabs you, it's really So I think this is for me also one of the most important projects in my life.
And now that you're based in China, in Shenzhen, are you mostly working on China projects, I guess, or still you get the chance to be involved into
we
projects that are somewhere else? I mean, you guys have many staff and many people, but
we're doing a Chinese project.
Yeah, and it would be not making so much sense to work on German projects here, because you have then you can also communicate more with all the MEP engineers engineers, and then you have the time difference, so it makes not so much sense, and we are here to advise and design the Chinese ones, because we are here, right?
And this is, as you know, the Chinese projects are from a scale quite impressive. When we did a couple of urban design, which is, you never find something like that in Europe, from the scale, from the size, and even a normal.
Bigger than your village that you came from. Right?
Even bigger as a small city where I studied. But it's also, if you have a normal project here, you have something like 180,000 square meters. You have 3 towers, and then the commercial, something like that, podium. It's also this kind of projects in Germany you don't have.
But nowhere in Europe.
No, because nobody will build a new city, because we have already growing cities, and maybe you can extend it a little bit, make some living apartments.
Yeah, we have pre-existence, historical patterns, whatever. There's no way
so
to.
And from this point of view, it's really to see. It's a chance for us to learn. I don't know how long we will stay in China, but it's. The years I had here, it's so good to understand the culture. I think you never will really get into the society as a long nose and without speaking proper Chinese, but it's really good for us to understand and to at least try to understand the Chinese culture and even the humor. It's not easy to understand.
Yeah.
And you can learn here. Okay, maybe in the USA it's a different thing, because you have cities with a lot of sky-rise buildings. But in Germany there is not so much. I will never had there the chance to make a design on a sky-rise buildings, high-rise buildings.
In the next 20 years.
Maybe it would be changed somehow, and I learned here a lot how to design it. So this is also a good thing to have an experience in this.
Despite whatever the market, the economies of the country, the scale of the project that we can deal here, there's very few places in the world where you can.
Yeah. So luckily us, we are part of the team here.
Like
Nice.
I don't know too much about your work here in China, but I know that one of my favorite buildings in Shenzhen is a building that you guys made was in Longgang, the Universidad Stadium.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it. It kind of reminds me of, I don't want to say Lotus, but like this kind of
Diamond ring.
diamond
Yeah, the
ring,
diamond,
you know,
yeah.
with these triangular shapes.
Yeah.
You know, it's beautiful.
Super complex geometry.
Yeah, it's so
Like,
beautiful. This
Double
little
layered.
Double layer
Facade.
facade. Yeah. You have inside, you have a membrane, so for get the sunlight out, and it's beautiful. And also, I was there a couple of years ago. There was a music festival. It's also nice to see it was not a sport event; it was a music event.
So they use it for something else.
Yeah,
and
and
now
it's
it works.
nice to see, and then they enlighten the facade and how the people are using the space between the stadium and the
Right.
venues. You know, it's not dead; it's lively. It's people.
right.
This I really like.
Yeah, this is also the most nice thing for an architect. I think maybe Freddie, you are thinking also when you see the building that you are worked on it, and this is alive and this
And
works.
people use it, yeah.
Yeah.
and not something like you. There's a high-rise building and nobody uses it. It's empty. Nobody goes there.
Yeah.
Or
It's just
also
another
different.
high-rise building.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You can see the life.
yeah, when
you know,
it's live inside, it's
you get it. You feel proud.
In fact, also an advantage in those kind of projects, and of course they can happen also in Beijing, they can happen in Shanghai, but still because of the historical pre-existence and pattern, you might end up having a lot of these like landmarks and nice buildings, but the space in between the buildings where actually the life of the people really happen
Yeah, right.
is the leftover because of road or it's not managed. Here in Shenzhen, there's always a very big demand and focus on also the public space that you generate. Even now when we were designing the tower down in Futian next to you, even though it was only 50 by 50 meters, they wanted a whole chapter about the landscape design and stuff, which you look at many other things, from whatever the Pingang or whatever other tower in a CBD. It's like comes down, people walk around, there's a big street, and it's a sequence of blank, empty spaces. But in Shenzhen, as opposed to many other places, I think that's where you can enjoy what you just said, that actually people really use the space. Also in China, compared to Europe, you have 60-year-old people that go out dancing at 9 o'clock in the evening. In Germany or in Italy, they will they will not go when they are on their 80s and doing whatever they do. So there's a totally different usage of space.
yes.
And that's
Right.
nice.
So, what's the hot project you guys are working on now? Can you talk about it?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
yet.
Not yet.
So, how many different projects do you have on your plate right now?
We both.
As individuals, because
as
as
individual-
office,
Yeah, this is.
you don't
I don't know.
No, I would say as like the not individuals, but like the Shenzhen office is like collectively working on 10 projects, 20.
I know in Shenzhen office we have a design department, and then we have call it a project management department, which is dealing with the client and coordinating here in Shenzhen with the
And the
partner offices and with the design team in Berlin. So and there we have, let's say, 6 people, which has 3 projects on the table. So it's something like 18 projects.
18.
18. Design department is running on 2 projects now.
No.
4.
Four.
4 with us. So, and we are around 20, 21 people. And when I arrived here, 2014 was 5, 6.
Okay.
So it's slowly, steady growing. But I think now the size of the office is nice because everybody knows each other. You have eye contact during the day. It's not too big. If you have an office like 100 people, 150,
You
don't
don't
even
know
know their
who we are
names.
working
Yeah.
with, or
and this is for German style. It's already a big office, 150.
of course.
And
Yeah,
in China,
for-
it's what is it? 2,000 to 4,000 people in the Chinese office.
Yeah. Here, I mean, in Italy, if you have 50 to 100 people in the office, you are huge.
Yeah.
Here, it's like, oh,
Yeah,
Right.
good job.
Yes.
You'll get there
You are a
someday.
startup.
You're a startup.
like what?
And I read somewhere, or saw somewhere. I don't know. I probably didn't read it, but like a human can only have like 150 connections with other people, like real connections. That's like kind of like the I don't know if it's true or not, but that's kind of like the maximum capacity you could have with like people.
At one time or during the whole life? Or
I think one time in your life, you know, like
Yeah.
probably not your whole life, because you know, like you go through life. Like when you're in South Africa, you had like connections with a bunch of people in Africa,
right.
but now that you're living in Shenzhen, you're probably not so connected with them. But like kind of like a constant day to day real, and also like what your brain can remember and process is about 150 people that you can keep. And once you get beyond that, like you just like, oh, this is Joe from the other side of the office. Yep, hi Joe. But you don't know anything about him, you know.
You can remember the face, yeah. No, I think also, how you get, I don't know, let's say 50, well, let's say 25 relevant emails per day, which you have to read or to reply. And then you have your WeChat and your whatever, and blah, 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 and you go out in the evening, you go in a bar and then meet another 10 people. It's quite a lot of...
interconnections.
right. And, but I think really people which are really counting, except family, let's say, it's maybe a number of 5 to 10, which are you really exchange important stuff, something like that. Well, even if more than 10 was already time consuming. You can't.
A lot, right?
No way.
No, and it actually in these days it's also not so easy to, if you have a good friend, 5 good friends, to meet them once a week or something, because everybody's busy. Everybody has something to do, so you can maybe match it to meet them once a month or something.
Personally, my strategy is I just go to a bar and then
And meet them at the same time.
And meet someone.
No, I don't make dates or appointments. So
Yeah,
I just go,
it just
let's go to
happens.
Cake Room or to Kraftwerk or wherever and Mambo, and then you see you meet people everywhere,
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
which I enjoy in Shenzhen.
By Zufall,
Yeah,
Yeah.
by accident.
by accident.
As a flaneur.
It's a flaneur, yes.
Oh, cool. Well, then, hopefully, now in the free time and occasion, you will have one more stop to come and visit. Now that you discover the new side of
Nantou.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So we not only will see each other in the freeway and around,
No.
and hopefully around Futian and your office if I get to be around there more often.
Yeah, you can visit us for a coffee when you begin.
By the way,
to visit
now you
the
guys,
site.
you have the new extension office, right? Because when we
we
were
saw
doing
the
thing,
yeah.
you were under construction.
You kept the old place too,
Yes, yeah.
and then you broke the wall and then connected it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Nice
nice.
space.
Nice.
Monika designed a really amazing table, a lounge table.
Okay.
Really?
Wow.
And you guys have good coffee too?
We have a super good coffee machine, Jura.
Okay.
Swiss-made coffee machine. So
Where are the beans from?
From
Italy.
coffee plant.
I think Italy.
Oh, really? They're grown in Italy? No. Italy grows coffee?
No.
No.
Well, they would process.
This is Lavazza?
Lavazza?
Good, yeah.
They were like roasted
I
or
think
something, right?
They roasted this. I
Because
think.
you know that the best coffees are made out of different beans. So you would take the one from Brazil, the one from Africa or Arabic, and then mix them. It's all about the process.
Really?
Yeah.
The best coffees like mix. You can't say like, oh, like I'm going to Argentina and I get these beans.
It's like commercial coffees. Let's put it like this: the best commercial coffees is because they are able to blend and mix. Not only.
But Italy doesn't grow any coffee.
I don't think in a large scale. No, for sure we can grow, but no, we are not big enough to have it on a commercial scale grown in Italy. You know, I mean.
Right.
You know the plant of coffee and how it comes out. I mean, you need a huge amount. Of so
It's a tree, right? It's a tree or is it a plant?
it's
I don't know.
How do you say?
Maybe
Bush?
a small tree.
A bush?
In bush,
Bush,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a bush.
Really?
Yeah, it's a bush.
Is it?
I think so.
Do you know what the coffee bush looks like? I
You
don't.
know how the coffee bean looks like.
Yeah, I know that
I would
too.
not recognize it, but I mean, I have
Is it a
seen,
tall bush?
If it, if
I think it's
if
a
the
tree,
coffee
no?
is picked or if it just.
I think it's a
shaken
tree.
Ah,
Nobody knows?
Okay, nobody knows. We are not coffee plants.
It's not a tree.
Guys.
Can you look it up?
Yes, but it's not a tree. I mean, you know.
Look up coffee tree. I'm really curious. No, I don't know.
I think it's a
Like,
bush, huh?
is it a bush? You know, bush is like
It's
no
a bush.
trunk, right?
Yeah.
Just kind of a bunch of stems.
Because it's a banana tree or it's a bush?
Banana tree is technically a grass, but it has like a stump
Yeah.
and then it grows up some branches.
An avocado is a tree.
Avocados are definitely a tree. Yeah, we have avocado trees. I've climbed. Me and my friend used to.
See how we grow. It looks like
Man,
very-
I need to see. I need to see a full grown, not some.
a plantation. You mean?
Yeah, like a full, like an adult. Oh, that's a bush. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
it's
definitely a bush. But avocado is a tree. We used, like in California. Me and my friend had a huge avocado tree in his backyard, like 3 floors high.
Wow.
Yeah, so we used to like get like a rock climbing gear,
Yeah.
like the harness and shit like that, and like throw it over like a big branch, and then like swing over to like another branch and pick the avocados,
Ah, nice.
and then like swing over here with our little fucking like fruit cutter thing and
Okay.
pick them. Yeah, it's a huge avocado
Wow.
tree. Anyways,
I thought that you just waited and they fall down and then you collect
you just
them.
pick them out the ground.
Yeah,
Yeah,
huh?
no,
Could hurt you.
definitely in Europe doesn't have avocados, right?
In
Too cold.
Sicily.
Sicily, they
maybe.
do.
It's not. Italy is not famous for avocados grown in Italy, but
Only South America, right? Africa has avocados. Europe, I mean, Asia doesn't.
Europe.
No, I think South America and Mexico so doesn't.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
so-
Mexico.
well, that's
they
South-
needed guacamole.
The Americas,
Yeah.
but nowhere else, right? As far as native fruits.
originating. But I'm for sure. I mean, the temperature. I'm sure the temperature in Sicily would allow to grow avocado.
Mm.
Then, again, the commercial scale is a bit of a different thing. It's like olive oil. There's a lot of other countries that grow olive oil and make oil, but it's native from Greece and Italy. The way it grows there is different, and we really make a business. There's many people making a business out of that. Maybe there is in Mexico one guy doing business in olive oil and he can grow olives, but
Do you have any idea of like what percentage of olive oil comes out of Italy, like from the world like production
in terms of cash flow or volume,
volume?
Of olive oil, not olives.
Olive oil.
I would have to check, but olive oil for sure is higher than olives, just olives, because to do the olive oil, you cannot use all olives. Like in Greece, you can grow olives big like this, the Kalamata, the red
But
ones,
you
but
can't-
you don't do oil out of that.
Yeah, that's right.
The-
So
Because it's too much water, or what? Because like the bigger the fruit, the more water it is, kind
actually,
of thing.
for the oil, it's also about the seed. I mean, you use a lot of things. It's not just squeezing like doing orange juice. It's the whole procedure thing. But in terms of volume, no. I know that the most famous olive oil is extra virgin
From Italy, yeah.
Yes,
Italy.
cold pressed.
But I don't like just thinking about it. This is like totally like off topic of everything we talked about: avocados, fucking olives, and coffee beans. But like, I don't know any other countries that exports like olive oil that I buy like oh, this is like Spanish olive oil, or this is
Greece,
Portuguese.
Greece.
I never even seen Greece olive oil. It's always been like this is like Italian olive oil. So this is what made me think of like.
No, Greece has also good.
Yeah,
olive
sure.
oil.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
In Portugal,
Again,
I think so.
for sure they make it, but it's more of a, in terms of commercial, more into the local market. Like it's not necessarily recognized or doesn't have the volume for export enough.
Anyways, buildings, stadiums, love in the office,
Coffee.
coffee, olive
Also
oil,
in the-
And I'll bring some olive oil then.
some beautiful gin tonics from the Gold Cage. Thank you
Yeah.
for sponsoring our beverage tonight.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot. It was
It's been a
Thanks for
real.
coming. It was a great talk.
I've been
always
waiting.
my
Dude, there's so
pleasure.
much. Like there's so much I want to talk about. We didn't talk about like your quarantine and COVID experience, and you guys leaving China and not coming
Oh,
back.
That's right.
But we're gonna save it for the next time.
Okay.
The next time we invite Monica, he comes as an audience and we ask him to join. So then we have the excuse.
Right. But he has to be shy and hesitant first. Like, oh
Yeah.
no, can I sit over here?
No, thank you very much, Burkhard. Thank you, Monica. It was a
Thank you,
pleasure
Sean.
to have you. Pleasure to talk to you. And for all of you who follow us, you find more informations about them. And keep on following us. Keep it up. Sherry,
We're out, man.
designer, out. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Boom.